Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a large sum of money is about to go back into one eastern Kentucky county, and a local organization looks for new members in the effort to give young leaders in our area the ability to change their communities.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. It's Friday and it's 6 o'clock. The weekend is almost here for some of us. It's a frigid Friday, as Brandon called it, and now I'm stuck on that because I absolutely love that. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our frigid Friday. And Brandon, I mentioned earlier that it was flurries this morning, and it kind of looked like I walked out into a snow globe because I was not expecting it. But you know, anything is possible now. Now that I've lived here for 2 years, it's Kentucky weather.
Listen,
it
changes constantly. It changes constantly. And sometimes even the professionals are not good at trying to pin that down. Because here's the thing. Lake effect snow, which is what's going on this morning, doesn't show up on any model. So you can't really like, oh, that's happening right now. It's going to happen this time. It's not really, I don't want to say it's not predictable, but it's uncommon to see it when you don't see it on models. So again, that's just something we dealt with overnight. And of course, again, not everybody saw it, but some folks did, and they even got some additional accumulation. Let's see where it's still at this morning using satellite and radar. You can see quite a bit of it came through in the last few hours there across parts of Pike, Floyd, over into Knott and Perry counties, even Harlan and Letcher counties as well. But all that's starting to kind of fade away. I'm hoping that blob over there toward Charleston and Beckley doesn't work its way here too. If it does, we'll keep having snow for a little while today. Some areas, though, didn't get any more snow overnight, like Corbin along I-75. They got a little bit yesterday, but they didn't get any additional overnight. But I can tell you one thing, across the region, it is cold. That is everywhere. 21 in Harlan, Hazard 2, 23 Middlesboro and Jacksboro, warmer spots in the region, 16 in Wise, 17 Irvin, Jackson, Prestonsburg, and Pikeville this morning. When you factor in the wind chill, feels like single digits in many areas. So again, be careful out there. Layers are your friend. 44 is our average high. We are not going to make it anywhere close to that today. 26 is the forecast high. Might get a little bit warmer in some areas if you see sunshine faster. 65 is a record for the day set back on this day in 1999. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, the Commonwealth's COVID-19 positivity rate continues to set new records, while the state reported 13,614 new cases yesterday. Now, that brings our case total to more than 1 million. There were 20 new deaths as well, putting the Commonwealth's death toll at 12,659. The positivity rate is once again at a record high, sitting at 31.37%. Governor Andy Beshear says he is hoping to see a decline in cases the next week and a half to 2 weeks. He also says around 63% of the state's population has had at least one COVID vaccine.
One reason to get vaccinated is to make sure there is a bed at a hospital for someone who is in a car wreck, has a heart attack, has a stroke, or otherwise needs care. Because if we continue to look at our inpatient census for Kentucky hospitals, it continues to go up.
Well, the governor says the state is getting close to the levels of Delta variant hospitalizations. That's when hospitals were nearly busting at the seams with patients, and the National Guard had to be called in to help. You can always find the latest COVID-19 information on our website at WYMT.com. Harlan County Health Department officials believe 2 basketball games were COVID-19 super spreader events. Our Zach Hawk met with school and county officials for their reaction and asked what needs to be done moving forward.
County Judge Executive Dan Mosley says he was shocked and disappointed to learn there were people attending high school basketball games who were awaiting test results that would later return positive.
When we've tested positive for COVID, we should not go around large groups of people. And knowing that there were positive cases right there at that game on Saturday night, in which there were 1,500 or more people at, that's alarming.
Harlan Superintendent Charles Morton says his district keeps track of students and staff that test positive. And after this news, they canceled school Thursday and Friday.
Where we're at, looking forward to Monday when we come back, is we'll have, I think, 1 staff member that would still be in quarantine and less than 10 students that would be in quarantine.
A point Morton considers critical, keeping students healthy and learning in person.
The dynamic, the magic of being in front of a teacher and the interactions that take place with being with your friends And all of that is just critically important to the appropriate social development that kids need.
At a county level, positive results traced to large gatherings are just one part of an unfortunate week.
It appears that this week will be double the highest week ever since the pandemic started.
Which is why Mosley wants people to follow the health department guidelines that have been in place throughout the pandemic.
We've lost 178 people so far to COVID-19. That's 2.8% of the people who have caught COVID have passed away from it.
In Harlan County, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, the basketball games in question are Harlan against Barberville on Tuesday, January 11th, and Harlan versus Harlan County on Saturday, January 15th. The health department reminds anyone feeling symptoms to get a test, isolate until you have results, and quarantine as necessary. Well, Kentucky GOP Representative Thomas Massey tested positive for COVID-19 on Thursday. The Lexington Herald Leader reports Massey made the announcement on Twitter Thursday morning. He said he had cold symptoms for a short time, but he feels like he is over it now. He said, quote, "I will not be voting, meeting in person, or making public appearances until next week." Continuing, "I am not vaccinated or boosted. If trolls or media have other questions about my health status, the answer is most likely none yet," end quote. Some big developments in two priority bills in Frankfort, the budget and redistricting. On Thursday, the budget bill that was filed before the governor's budget address passed through the House. Meanwhile, the Republican supermajority voted to override Governor Beshear's veto of the redistricting plans. Chad Hedrick has the latest as state Democrats have filed a lawsuit following the vote.
It's another legal battle originating at the Kentucky Capitol as the maps that would potentially shift the Commonwealth's political landscape pass without the governor's approval.
I vetoed the maps because I believe that they are unconstitutional.
In his veto message, he says that we acted to, quote, "deprive certain communities of representation," close quote. Governor, you shamelessly intended that as a dog whistle to certain communities.
Since the maps were released, they have been criticized by Democrats who say they split the urban core of certain communities. During his Team Kentucky meeting Thursday, Governor Beshear says he believes the lawsuit will be successful, citing Ohio's Supreme Court striking down the new Buckeye state maps.
I think one of the basic tenets in every state constitution is, one person, one vote. And there comes a time where if things are gerrymandered too much, that an individual really doesn't have the same voice and the same vote as others.
House Speaker David Osborne says attorneys are looking over the lawsuit, saying they don't believe there is any merit to its claims, which have been addressed in previous court rulings.
So we will let our legal team continue to work through that process, but I look for a speedy resolution to it, and I'm very, very confident that the map will withstand any challenge.
That was Chad Hedrick reporting. There's a bill right now that would temporarily move Kentucky's primary from May to August because it was expected that those redistricting plans would face a challenge in court. Right now, the primary is set for May 17th. The filing deadline is next Tuesday. More than $1 million is going back into the Knott County area as part of the $689 million in infrastructure projects Senator Mitch McConnell announced on Wednesday. The money will help raise the height of the sediment dam and improve water treatment capabilities in Carr Creek Lake. Now, Judge Executive Jeff Dobson says they want to start construction as soon as possible.
It's a big relief to know that we're actually funded for these projects and funded for this project in particular. And now we can get started. We're a step closer. We're sure that we're qualified for the money and approved for the money.
Well, for a list of all the other projects across the Commonwealth, you can visit our website. The City of Hazard Civic Fellowship aims to give young leaders a voice to initiate change in their communities, and they are looking for fellows to join the class of 2022. The fellowship is opening applications and will be looking for Kentucky high school or college students to take part in an 8-week paid summer internship. Hazard City Commissioner and Fellowship Coordinator Luke Glazer says this program can give students the hands-on experience needed to become leaders within their own communities.
It's not just the government that makes things happen in the city of Hazard. In fact, we play a very small role. Much larger roles are played by, community foundations and the board of the, just different nonprofits in the area. And so they get to know who those people are and how all of our work, especially in a small community, is interconnected.
Applications are due on February 19th. The Mountaineer State is seeing record lows for unemployment. West Virginia's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate dropped 0.3 percentage point to 3.7% in December. Now, this is the lowest rate for the state on record. Workforce West Virginia says total employment grew by 1,600 during the month, and the number of unemployed locals dropped to nearly 29,000.
Forecast this morning here at 6:10, a little bit on the colder side, a little bit on the snowy side for some, but it's lake effect snow, so not everybody being impacted this morning. Let's take a look at Norton over in southwest Virginia. Got a VDOT, our Virginia Department of Transportation camera over there, and you can see along US 23, looks like everything's looking pretty good this morning. Some slick spots possible out there on those cold roads, so give yourself plenty of time to get around. And the temperatures are cold too, anywhere from the mid to upper teens and low 20s across the entire region. Factor in the wind chill, and there is a wind chill this morning. You see the wind speeds there between 5 and 10 miles per hour. That's going to mean it's going to feel like the single digits in some locations. It'll feel like the teens later today. 26 is the forecast time, but if you get clouds, or if you clear the clouds out faster and you get the sunshine faster, you'll be able to see a little bit more on the way of warmth there, but I still think everybody stays below freezing today. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Well, coming up here on Mountain News this morning, the Biden administration gives major funding to healthcare workers to fight COVID burnout. That's next.